Hello, and welcome to my channel. This is Elise here of Plan with Elise, and today we are going to do some talking and experimenting with setting up a junk journal. So I feel like junk journals have been all the rage lately, and I've been wanting to start one, maybe just like you. I've been memory keeping all year, and I really love it, but my memory planner, like my memory keeper, let me grab it, is really more for like photos, and I wanted something that was focused, we're gonna have an avalanche, on like different little pieces of, I don't know, junk journal. So like I have my memory planner here. This is Archer and Olive, and I really love it, but I wanted something a little bit more junk focused. However, I was trying to figure out what I would actually put in it because I'm using my memory planner. And that's where I came up with the idea of an engagement junk journal. So I have some cards here that we've received. I think these are the only cards we've received so far. Our engagement party is actually this weekend, and I felt like I was going to be really overwhelmed if I waited until after this weekend. So I have some supplies that I bought, and I just figured, let's start. So let me talk to you about the supplies that I purchased that are not things I already had at home. I have a backup of this. This is my scrapbook.com adhesive roller. I love this. I really like that it's nice and big, and I've really been enjoying it. I bought these stamps also from scrapbook.com, and this is the Our Wedding set. And then I bought this Our Wedding 12 by 12 double-sided papers, and I think it's 12 by 12 element sticker. Oh yeah, there's stickers here. Well, that's cool. Some of these say like Our Wedding Day, which I don't need yet, but at some point I probably will. So we know how scrapbook paper works. We've got big sets. Some of these you'd cut up. I mean, all of them I'd cut up, but some are like really separated like this. I think I'm going to use something like this first. But I just thought these were pretty, and there were a lot of different color schemes available. Peach and green isn't my favorite, but I felt like it worked for the purpose of me trying to get this set up. So that's what I bought there. Then I bought some stamps from Everyday Explorer. This is my first purchase from Everyday Explorer. And are these stickers? No? Okay, it's not a sticker. I bought 2 sets of stamps. Here's the thing about stamps. Stamps are expensive. However, when I look at the price of stamps as opposed to the price of buying alphabet stickers, stamps are actually a lot more economically like friendly. There we go. So these are the 2 sets of stamps. Then I guess the most important thing is, what am I using as a junk journal? So I bought this from Martina's Tiny Store, and I think I added on some scrapbook papers that were on sale, even though they aren't really the color scheme that I'm like going with here, but they could always be used. It came with a little pack of stickers. And then this is the junk journal. So this is created to be a junk journal. This says Memory Collecting Journal. And I thought the little blue and white pin dot was really cute. And the idea of this is that you are supposed, I mean, you can use it for regular journaling, but it's been built for memory collecting. And this is a huge journal. So I think that it's going to work really well for this. So those are the supplies that I've purchased. And supplies that I grabbed that I already had are an acrylic block for stamping. I have these ink from Alt New. And then I have a bunch of these little pieces of paper. I have a whole bunch of boxes of these from Temu that I bought early in the year. And I thought that some of these little bits would be really pretty. So that's what we're starting with. And I say this all the time. The idea is just to start, and I feel like I'm nervous, and that's sort of why I wanted to do this video before I talked myself out of it, because maybe you've been wanting to start something like this also, even if it's not for an engagement, and you're just not sure how to start. So we're going to figure that out together. I think that would be good, right? Okay, so we have these memories belong to, and I'm going to write, let's get this off here, Elise and James. Now, I know that technically the date I'm starting this journal should be the date that we are starting this journal. Today is September 23rd. However, I'd really liked the date to start this journal to be the date we got engaged. So 8/4/25. And I really want this to document the process. After I set this up today, the next thing that I want to put in here is we have seen 11 wedding venues. We don't have one yet, but with all the venues we've seen, they've given us like paper and folders and all these kinds of things that I want to document the process of looking for wedding venues as well in this. I think it's too overwhelming for me to do now. I'd also rather wait to do that until we have a venue, because my idea is to put each venue here and write like notes about it, maybe what we liked, what we didn't like. And then finally, the last page of the venues includes, we have a venue. So that's kind of why I don't want to use those yet. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is pick out something from this. I'm not going to print any photos for this first spread because I have the photos in my memory journal. So I'm going to try my very best to separate the two. So I'm not putting photos in here, but you definitely could, and a lot of people do. But I just wanted to decide one of these I really felt like was something I wanted to do on this. When I was flipping through it before, I was like, this definitely makes sense to do here, but now, of course, I can't remember what it was. Okay, let's start with this. I get a little overwhelmed by big scrap of pages. I wish there were some smaller ones, but I think this will come in handy. So I'm just gonna start and not be afraid. And we're gonna start by ripping, because this is a junk journal. I also have some things set aside for our engagement party that I'm going to include. Like we got custom napkins, cocktail napkins. And so I have those. And I have, what was the other thing that I have from those for the engagement party? Oh, little pieces of confetti that we got for the tables that have our names on it. So I just thought little things like that would be good to set aside to kind of document that day as well. All right, so we're gonna put this down right over here, and let's take one of the other ones that had maybe a bigger thing. I could spend forever with you. So we're gonna cut that out. I also don't know that every page I add to this is going to be something that like ends up on YouTube, but I figured since I'm just starting out and you may be in a similar boat, let's, start this together. And maybe if you are also afraid like I am, then this could help you not be. I feel like we could kind of put this here. I don't know that I like it there. I wish this was smaller. I could make it smaller and have it just fit, but I also kind of feel like this should be the area that maybe I break the rules. So I don't know. Let's do it. Let's trim this a little bit. And I'll start to figure out what I like or don't like. Tiny bit more trim on the other side. That'll work. This is about to run out, which is why I'm pressing so hard and having a little bit of trouble. Once it runs out and I open the new one, it'll be a lot easier. Okay, that looks cute. Now, I have some cards that we received, And I thought that it would be really cute to include these cards. And these are cards that we received like the week we got engaged. So we had them, you know, in our living room displaying for a while. And then I said to James, do you need these displaying anymore? Can I hold on to them? I'm not going to throw them out. And he said, yes, just like you said, yes. So I want to really include these in here. So I don't think that any of them really go with the color scheme I did here. I don't think these even really go together, but that's okay. Let's see how I want to do this. I feel like I want to start with the stamps. That's what I think we're going to start with. So I need the acrylic. I feel like something else has to go over here, and I'm not sure what it is. I feel like what I didn't really consider is what was actually going to go in these spots, just besides the cards. I almost think that I should lift this and like put this over here. But then we're going to lose some of that cool touch there. I think that's okay. All right. It's a learning process. If you are coming to this video hoping to completely learn how to junk journal and make it perfect, this may not be the video for you because I have no idea what I'm doing. We're figuring it out together. All right, that looks cute. And then I think we're gonna do, that's so crooked though. Let's get that to be a little bit better. Okay, now I'm gonna pull the stamps. I don't always love using stamps on YouTube because I feel like it takes so long and I'm not great at stamps. I'm not horrible at stamps, but I'm not great. So we're going to put 8. It also takes so long to clean up. 4. And then 25. So that when I, whoops, that's crooked. So that when I put this down, we're gonna have that. So now, let's take out my alt new stamps. I'm gonna go with black here. And I'm just going to tap this, not gonna rub it, going fully up and down tapping until they look completely saturated. If you rub it and you go this way, you're going to pull the ink off the stamp. All right, let's give everything maybe one more thorough sweep. And then we're going to turn this down, put it here, and press. Although, because this notebook isn't fully down, I'm just going to have trouble there. Okay. Not the prettiest thing I've ever seen, but not the worst. And let's just do this. 8, 4, 25. I think that that looks pretty. Now, do I want to add anything else? I was going to write, I said yes, but I want to include these cards. So I think that I'm trying to decide, do I want to do a little bit of writing here about our engagement? I have my journal, I have my memory keeper. I feel like it's too much, so we're not going to do it. Okay, here's what we are going to do. We are going to do some deconstruction of cards. I feel a little bit bad deconstructing these cards, but I'm going to say something that not everyone may agree with. I am not someone who tends to keep cards. I feel like I put them in a box because I feel bad about getting rid of them. And then at some point years down the line when I'm organizing and cleaning things out, I get rid of them. There are certain cards I do keep, but I feel like I want to keep these. Of course, these are cards for our engagement and they're so meaningful and they're going to be so fun to look back on one day, hopefully with our kids. And so I felt like I wanted to keep these. I just needed to figure out the best way. So now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna rip this. And I'm gonna guide it with my thumb. Make sure you can see what I'm doing here. Sometimes I move off camera, sorry. But I'm gonna guide it so that we're ripping around the design. Just as I hear the landscapers. I have a problem because my landscapers used to come on Thursdays. Today is Tuesday. I don't know what they're doing here today. I guess patience is a virtue with this, huh? I could have cut it out, but I really wanted to have that like junk journal vibe. And I think that's where I may struggle with this. Not this specifically, but as I continue with the junk journal, is finding ways to make it look junky enough and not trying to make it look like a really well mapped out like planner spread. This is like hurting my hand. The others shouldn't be as difficult. Of course, I started with the toughest one. Okay, look how cute that looks. Just like to pop it there. Yes, oh my goodness, okay. I think I'm so excited about that. I really love that I ripped it. I feel like it's just such a cute look. I'm really struggling with this, so I'm gonna open the new one. My one, I love scrapbook.com. There are so many items. Everything you need for planning, stationery, paper crafting is there. My one complaint about scrapbook.com is the price of shipping. It is not cheap to ship any items from there. But when you have a big enough cart, I don't remember if they do free shipping on anything, but I wouldn't recommend just like ordering one thing. I would get everything you want added to your cart and then check out so that you're making the most of it. Okay, that looks so cute. And then I have, so this is from my aunt and uncle. This was the first card we received. And we're going to continue cutting here. So this is actually from my aunt who is responsible for the spelling of my name. And I don't know if I've shared this story actually on YouTube. So I am Jewish, and in the Jewish religion, you're typically, if you're named after someone, you're named using the first letter of someone who passed away. So that's a little crooked. My grandpa, my dad's dad, died before I was born. He died 2 years before I was born, and his name was Irving. And they wanted to use the letter I to honor my grandpa Irving. And so they, there's not that many options for the name, like for a name to start with the letter I. So my parents came up with Elise. But when they came up with Elise, they spelled it with one S. So my name was spelled Illyse when I was born. My Aunt Heidi brought my parents a card or something when I was born. They came to the hospital and she spelled my name wrong. She spelled it with two S's. And my parents saw that and really liked that spelling more than the original spelling with one S. So they actually changed my name. I still have my original birth announcement that they had already ordered. And I don't think they ever replaced because there just was really not a need for it. But anyway, while my parents are responsible for my name starting with an I, my Aunt Heidi is responsible for the current spelling. So one of the big jokes I make is my name has been spelled wrong since the day I was born because it's spelled differently today than it was the day I was born. Okay, I think that looks really cute. I pulled out Junk Journaling by Castetic Plans because this is perfect for junk journaling. And I think it would be cute just to add in a couple of little elements. And I think that's the type of thing that really gives it the junk journal vibe because it's like the cute little bits. Let's see. I'm looking for something that sort of looks like tape that I could look like this is kind of taped on. Let me There we go. We've got some of these. These are a little bit wider than I want to use, but this one maybe short enough, like that. Okay. I think that that looks cute. It's definitely not perfect, but it's like my first junk journaling spread. So I think that it's good for it being my first spread. All right. Is that enough? Do I need to do anything more here on this? I don't think so. Maybe over time I add to it. Another thing I think I could do that would look really cute is add a little bit of a dot around this. Just kind of finding ways to enhance the style. Like that. And I mean, this is so easy to do. Can't really make a mistake with it. But I think it's a cute look. Okay. Yeah, it does something, right? It adds a little something. Okay, let's turn the page over. And I have some other cards here that I want to include. So I did look up some recommended ways on adding cards to a junk journal. And aside from deconstructing the card, one of the ideas was to take a card like this and just put it in with washi tape. I think that that would be such an easy way to do this if that's the route you wanted to go. For this one though, I'm going to cut, I'm not going to rip because this is a really sturdy cardboard and I want to get a pretty precise cut here. But I felt like because of the champagne right there, that would look really cute. We have a little bit of a gap here, but I'm not super worried about it. And also, this is a really small like note, so I can fit all of that right here. So let's take this. And then the reason that I'm starting this now, I mean, I already said this, but part of my timing is intentional because I'm assuming that by Saturday, we'll have received any cards people are giving us for getting engaged. And then I can just come in and add these before I add the venues. So I'm kind of doing this in like a little bit of a timeline process. And let's pop this in right here. Put it down a little bit crooked. So we've got this space. I'm just going to cut it. I think it'll be easier to cut it than to try to pop it off and redo it. Okay, look how cute. Then we're going to cut out, I don't need to keep James and Elise. I know who it's for. So that's what we're going to do. And I think, because I was like, is this really something I'm okay doing on YouTube, cutting up cards that people give us? But this is going to be like a book that we look at and remember forever. And I think that I would really love if I gave someone a card and they put it in something like this. So I try to think if I were in, you know, if I were like the shoes were on the other feet. So this was, I think, the second card we received. These aren't all in order, but this, I just remember when we were given this and we went to visit some friends and they gave us this card. So I think this would look cute, but before I put it down, I'm going to pull back out junk journaling and see if there's something maybe a little bit neutral here that I could use. Even like this. This piece of washi from this morning will just not go away. Okay, let's put this here. I don't even know that it's completely necessary, but I just felt like it was going to be nice to kind of fill out some of that space. And then let's look for a phrase. Like, perfect day, best wishes. I'm gonna put that here. And then maybe even just this right there. That's fine. All right, so now let's put this down first. Also, I'm going to link everything I used in the description just in case you're curious. Yeah, I don't know that I have discount codes for anything. Like I said, most of this stuff I purchased on my own, but I will link whatever I'm sharing as long as I can find it. If there's something that you're looking for that I didn't link, just let me know. Okay. I think that that's cute. Perfect. Next up, I have a card, and then I have a little card that came in a little words project. Bobby, my dear friend Bobby, sent me the sweetest set of bracelets from Little Words Project. There's actually 2 bracelets she sent. I should be wearing them right now, but I don't usually wear my bracelets when I'm filming. One says future and the other says Mrs. and my future last name. So it's like future and then Mrs. For example now, like my last name is Ratner. It won't be Ratner when I get married. But the idea was that I can wear them both now, which I have been wearing as we look at venues, and then I can take off the future one once we are married. So I also just remembered that I have these stamps. I don't know if I'm going to use these yet, but I want to include these in here. So let's cut this one up. And a lot of cards have that double backing on the front, so we're just going to pull this off to just remove some of the thickness. This is fun, like letting go of the need to be perfect in it and just kind of going with the flow. There's also so many pages in here that I'm not worried if we get a lot of, oh, what's in the back here? Oh, there's little scrapbook pages. I'm not worried about like running out of space and just putting the cards in. Okay, so this one is a little bit bigger, right? So if I were to try to put all of this in, I might have a little bit of trouble. So here is the example that I saw. This is what we're going to do. This is the example that I saw on TikTok. I don't remember who the creator was, where you take this and then we're going to take a thick washi. I don't really care what kind of washi I use for this, but we're actually going to put this down right away. Like that. And then, I think I did this the wrong way. I did do this the wrong way. Okay. I think this one is supposed to go down first, because otherwise I would have just left the card in the way it is. I think this is supposed to go down first, and then we can see the full card here, and I don't have to open it to see who it's from. I think that was supposed to be the plan. I tend to do things the wrong way the first time. I get that trait from my mom. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this, but you know I'm right. And we're going to put this down. Now, because I already have the adhesive on here, what I could just do here, it's really easy, is take just a piece of paper, put this down. There we go. And then this card, look at that little ring that's drawn. This card is from my mom's neighbor and her children, which was so sweet. We got really close back in 2020 when I was living at my mom's house during COVID. And I haven't seen them in a couple of years, but it was really sweet to get a card in the mail from them. Okay, cute. All right, now we're going to take this and use washi to put it here. So we're basically just switching the like setup of the page, or the way the card is. I know that you can't fully see that through, but I'm going to let it go. And you want to make sure that you're putting enough on the page so that it actually adheres to it. And I'm just going to really press down, and then look, that's really cute. Okay, I also saw in this out of the corner of my eye this hooray, and I think we can use that too. But I don't know that I'm going to use it on this page. because one of my goals with this junk journal, to not overwhelm myself, is to only put in it what I've committed to putting in it in that moment and nothing more. And I don't want to leave anything out. So for example, if I was like, okay, these 2 pages are enough, I'm done, I'd still have this card from Bobby that I want to include. So I think what we're going to do is turn the page and we're going to add in a hooray. But I feel like I want to use some more scrapbook paper. I'm just looking at the colors of the hooray. Sorry, I know when I turn my head, you can't really hear me as well. Let's use this. I'm just going to cut off a little piece before I rip it. It's going to be a little bit easier for me. And we're going to rip this and just put this here. I think this is the old adhesive, but I really should finish this before I opened a new one. I think it's easier. I do have a corner punch, but I think it's easier sometimes to just cut it. Okay, that looks cute. Then let's take hooray. Ugh. This is definitely about to be empty. I've also seen a lot of people use glue sticks in this, which is fine. You can use a glue stick. I think that this is easier because it's going to dry. Like, you don't have to wait for it to dry like you would with a glue stick. And then I'm going to take this card from Bobby and pop it right over here. Okay, now what I am going to do is grab this and I want to add some sticker or I want to add a word here. So when you're putting down acrylic stamps, if you're spelling out a word, you want to go right to left since you're going to be flipping it over. And I'm going to put down the word future. When I received Bobby's gift in the mail, well, let me actually tell you a funny story. So I have the like USPS informed delivery where you can sign up to get notified about packages that are coming your way. It's really helpful with all the planner launches and stuff like that. I need to make space because I don't have a second U. Oops. So we need about that much space. Let's test it out. A little bit more space. Okay. Anyway, USPS informed delivery. Well, I saw a package coming from Mountainside, New Jersey. And the only thing I know about Mountainside, New Jersey is that it's where the Little Words Project headquarters is because I've been there for a sample sale. But I could not figure out what else was in Mountainside, New Jersey that was coming for me because I just assumed it was something that I ordered and I knew I didn't have any Little Words Project things coming. And then this arrived. So it was really funny. But anyway, when I opened the package, I actually pulled out the future bracelet first. I didn't even see that there was another bracelet because of the way it was packaged. And then I read the card and saw that when she said future bracelet in her little note there, that meant that there was something else. So I looked and that's when I saw the Mrs. one. Oh, I messed up a little bit there. Meh, it's okay. So when I first saw future, I was thinking, what a special word to use here because right now we are like mapping out our future and it just felt really special even without the second set of bracelets. So anyway, I like the word future here and I wanted to include that. What I am learning though is that because I'm not like if I were pressing down here, I would really get a firm push because this is not going down all the way. I need to hold it to get a nice firm push. I think that's where the T got messed up. Okay. I could come back in with a T again and see if we can fix it because you can actually still see the ink on there. I don't even think I would need to repress the ink, but I'm not 100% confident in my ability to do this. Let's see. My head may end up on the camera. All right, little crooked, but not bad. So now I think I want to add a little bit of color. I have a Zig dot marker here, and we can just add a little bit of color into this and play around a little bit. This isn't something that I put in my memory planner because it would be like taking a photo of a bracelet. So I may write a little bit about like what future means to me, or I could even write the definition of the future or something. And I think it's tough sometimes to focus on the future while also staying present. It's funny for me as a planner person, I won't even say planner content creator, but planner person, because I'm always trying to plan for the future, like in my planner, while planning for the exact day itself. But then when I add in the element of being a planner content creator, I'm planning for future launches. I'm planning for, my lineup for next year, all of that kind of stuff. I just realized my phone's a little crooked. Okay. So I think I will just write here, future for the first time in what feels like forever. I know what the future holds. Or at least I know I'll have James by my side through all of it. There's no guarantee about what the future holds, right? But knowing that whatever my future holds, James is next to me is a really beautiful thought. Okay, and there we go. I think that we are finished with my initial setup. So the dates I'm starting this journal, the day we got engaged, and then a few different cards that I received. I feel like if you're someone who has cards from a previous event and you don't know what to do with them, this would be great. I think it would also be a really great project to set up for a child. Like if you have a baby, you could start from the baby shower and then go into any cards you received when the baby was born, or then for like the birthdays, because there's so much here. And you don't have to include every element of the card. I included a lot of elements of the card, but you could just take all the different like phrases from people and put them here. I actually did that after my dad passed away. When I was in high school, I took all the cards and put them into like a scrapbook because I wanted everyone's kind wishes, and not kind wishes, but that was the wrong word. I was reading best wishes. I wanted everyone's kind thoughts somewhere that I could look back on them. And I brought it to college with me that fall, and it was really meaningful for me to look through. It's going to make me emotional. It's really meaningful for me to look through on the hard days because I was able to see how many people loved and were supporting us, and it was just a really nice thing to do. So if you're looking for something to do with cards, whether it is a beautiful life moment such as the baby being born or an engagement, or it's something as hard as a loss, I think that having the written words from the people we love is really special. So I'm really excited about this project. Let me know if you want to see more of these videos. I probably won't do one with the next set of cards unless you really want to see it. I'm guessing the next one I do will be about venues. So hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll link everything in the description. And I think that's a wrap. I'll see you soon.